This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by Author U and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Welcome back to another edition of Author U, your guide to book publishing. I'm Judith Briles, and with me is my favorite writing muse. But she's actually going to be a writing muse for herself. And she was a writing coach as she put together her book, which became an international Amazon bestseller, not just for 20 minutes or an hour, but for many, 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 many days. And she has sold thousands, that's with an S, thousands of books leading into that. So if you can recall, I've talked about in the past that the average book, mid-list book, which is what most of us are if we were to be picked up by a traditional New York type publisher, you are lucky to sell 5,000 books in the lifetime of your book. During the first year of the book, they kind of gauge it to around 3,000 to 3,500. But now we're talking about someone who did it on her own, has exceeded the 5,000 mark, and totally did it on the indie self-published way. And she also did it with another arena where it's just not her voice. She's got a compilation of many voices, and she'll talk about her book a little bit. So I'd like to introduce you all again to Ann Randolph, my favorite writing muse, and she is a writing coach and teaches wonderful classes under the umbrella of kitchen table writing. So, Anne, welcome back to Author U.
Well, welcome. I'm excited to be here. And I'm excited by all the books that we've sold. Is that just exciting and amazing? Even I'm in shock over that.
I know, it's an amazing thing. And I'm glad to have you back because we did a program actually for the Author U community, which we're going to also do a webinar around it on November 16th. So I'm going to tell all our listeners to make sure that you go to the website, authoru.org, click on events, and you can sign up. It's a freebie, and we're going to kind of take you through a visual so you can see Anne's slides and things and go through, and I'm sure she'll have some little goodie perk to offer to all of you. But doing that is understanding there is a method to the madness of achieving bestseller stardom. Is that not correct, Anne?
Well, there's totally a method. I always often say, how can you understand Amazon? You can't, but you can become a part of a campaign that makes your book sell.
Exactly, and you design it, and there is formulas to it because I've talked about this in the past, but there's also always unique customization that needs to be done for each author and for the book. Is that not correct?
Oh, absolutely. And we say, should you do a campaign? It completely depends. It takes a lot of time. It takes weeks of work, and it for sure takes a big network of people that are supporting you in your effort for it. So if you're going to do a campaign, you need to block away a lot of time. But I will tell you, after spending 2 months making this campaign work, it has totally been worth it.
Well, I was impressed of your methodology that you went through to explain to everybody. This is how you do it. This is the process. If you want to be successful, and I've always felt if you're going to be successful, why not be seriously successful? So to really go through and build it. So why don't we just jump into some of this stuff right away? Because we had a boatload of questions that we wanted to throw into the table. And why don't we just start with your own DNA? Because you do talk about kitchen table writing. So, what is that about? And I think what you have to do is tell everyone, how did you land at Carnegie Hall?
Thank you for that question. It's one of my very favorite ones. You've heard the joke that there's a tourist, and the tourist stops a cabbie and says, "How do I get to Carnegie Hall?" And the answer is practice, practice, practice. And it's the same thing in launching a book campaign. It's the same thing in putting together the material that's going to go in the book. So many times we think that you just sit down and you write a book, or you sit down and you just do an Amazon campaign, and you plan and you practice and practice, practice. And I can tell you about our book real quickly. The title of our book is Stories Gathered at the Kitchen Table. And what we did is we compiled writings from people that are part of my writing workshop, which is called Kitchen Table Writing. And it is a collection of writing from women who have all overcome adversity. So we have business women, leaders, mothers, healers, politicians, trendsetters, and we have very short stories that are memoirs, that are true stories, that go from women who followed the rules of the 50s to even having a story of a young woman who was a student at Columbine. So we have just moving, poignant stories, and it's a small book, Stories Gathered at the Kitchen Table.
Well, which people like. They're little nuggets, little essays that you want to just, have a cup of tea with, and I took away a lot with that. So we're going to let you all know that we're going to do a special session with Anne on the whole concept of kitchen table writing during Thanksgiving weekend. So get ready for that, because I figured you have a little extra time. Most of us in Colorado, Ann and I are both in Colorado, think we'll be snowed in by then, but we don't see any inkling of snow, right, Ann, right now?
Oh, it's amazing. It's the most beautiful fall we ever had in Colorado. I even have cosmos out my window right this minute, still blooming.
I know. Me too. It's just crazy. All right, so let's get into the insider's tips on creating your book launch. And as we just kind of roll through that and put it all together. So as we look at it, what I want to do, and you really did a big focus dealing with ebooks, if I recall correctly. Is that right?
That's right. We opened our book actually a year and a half ago as a print copy and had a good deal of success with that. And then over the summer, we launched a special Kindle campaign. And so my expertise is now in launching Kindle campaigns. And there are a couple of things you need to be aware of. As I say, you'll never understand all of Amazon, but you do need to understand some aspects. And one aspect is how to become a bestseller, and that's what we get to tout, that our book has been an Amazon #1 bestseller. And the second is how to be a hot new release, which is extremely exciting, because for the first 30 days of your campaign, if you move enough books, if you sell enough books, you bump up to what's called hot new release, and you are featured with 3 books, and it can be up to 30 days. So we were a hot new release, #1, #2, #3, and we spent most of our time as #1 hot new release for a full 30 days. And,
which is fabulous. Which is fabulous.
It is totally amazing, and there really is a formula to make your book become a bestseller, and there's several steps that you really want to go through for that formula. And one of the biggest steps is choosing the right category for your book. And when I say categories, when you go on Amazon on the left-hand side of the page, there's a list of all the different categories of books: arts and photography. We are memoir, biography, and memoir, but there are cookbooks and humor and entertainment. And one of the keys is finding the category that hones into your book, and you are looking for a category that has as few other books on it as possible. So rather than competing, for instance, in art and photography, you can compete with 1,000,006 books. You want to try to compete in a much lower number. So we're competing in biomemoir, which has 500,000 books, and then we start drilling down into deeper subcategories. And if people say, how do you do that? You think of a book or several books that's very similar to your book. You go on Amazon, you find that book, you find what category they are in, and you steal it. So you've already done the research by finding a book that's similar to your book. So there are a number of steps in picking your category.
Which is essential. And sometimes I need to interject this because some of the categories are not the same between print book and ebook. In fact, the ebook has more category options for you. So you may need a little help here. And I found, besides doing your own work, as Anne is telling you to do to explore this option, is that if you pick up the phone or you click on your computer saying, call me, and do that via your Author Central page, they will call you. And I have never had it fail that they have been just extraordinarily helpful in drilling down, as Anne said, drilling down and finding another category. And even if they get into it, understand your book, they'll start making suggestions. So it's very cool. And understand there's a different help person for ebooks as in print books, but the print books can get you over to the e-person real quick.
Right. And Author Central is something extremely important that you have to go on and register as a part of Author Central, and you have to put up your own author page, which would include your bio, a description of your book, information about who you are, what you've sold, your photo, and so you have to be sure to get an Author Central page, and that's a part of making the campaign work, and that's also a part of helping you find your categories as well.
So what I want to make sure everyone does that, and make sure you add in either your Facebook feed and your Twitter feed so it keeps it live and active. Make sure, critical here, that you go in if you have any other books or audios or anything out there that is literary based. Claim it if it's carried within the Amazon empire so it attaches over. It's very important to do that. We're going to take a quick break, and Randolph is my guest today, and we're talking about how to create an off-the-charts, off-the-wall, extraordinarily successful bestseller campaign. This is Author U, your guide to book publishing.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Is there a book in you or another? Author U will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. Author U brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through Author U's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, Author U is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join Author U today through its website at authoru.org. Follow Author U on Twitter at AuthorU and on Facebook at Author U, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. Author U, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
Every picture tells a story. And it's a truism that people do judge a book by its cover. Nick Sellinger and NZ Graphics have been in the business of producing superior graphic cover design and interior layout for self-published authors, independent and traditional publishers for years. He has developed a reputation for excellent work, fast turnarounds, and best of all, affordable pricing. NZ Graphics also produces ebooks and book marketing materials such as posters, sell sheets, postcards, bookmarks, business cards, logos, and more. Books designed for his clients have won multiple book awards, including Best Book Award by U.S. Book News, multiple Evie Awards from the Colorado Independent Publishers Association, Indie Book Awards, the San Francisco Book Festival Award, and Freedom Medal Award from Valley Forge. Visit www.nzgraphics.com or call 303-985-4174 for more details about making your book the success it should be. Mention that you are an FOJ, friend of Judith's, and that you heard about NZ Graphics on your guide to book publishing.
One of the most important decisions you will ever make is your choice for printing your book. You are choosing a company which will be responsible for guiding you through the process and printing your book at a level of quality and detail that embraces your personal and creative needs. You want to choose a company that when your book finally arrives, you are delighted and ready to move on to the next level, and one that is customer focused. Choose King Printing Company and Addy Books to be that company that brings you to the next level. Go to kingprinting.com or call 978-458-2345 and ask for Tom Campbell.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so we've got your juices going. You're going to get your Author Central page, very much important there. You're going to identify your categories up front, what you need to do. You're going to have some time. This is not something you're going to say, oh, okay, next week I'm going to do this. You need a little bit of time, right, Ann?
Absolutely. It can take up to at least 2 weeks in doing the study on category. We were in biomemoir, and then we drilled down. One category on our print book was regional U.S., the West, and women. And it's really important that you can have 2 categories for your print book and 2 additional categories for your Kindle book. And they can be different categories, which is really exciting. What I found funny was after I spent 2 weeks of doing the research of my category, Kindle themselves picked the category that we did the best in. And our book is only 111 pages, and so we were in the Kindle store under Kindle Short Reads, which are books that are can be read in 2 hours. And then we were in bio and memoir, and that helped us drill down that there were not so many books that were a short read in bio memoir.
And that's what makes it so hot. In doing that. And also, once your book starts getting traction, both the e and the paper are open on adding on an extra category. But you have to ask for it. You have to ask for it.
Exactly, and you do that once again going through Author Central to ask those questions. You also have to remember that everything that happens on your print book and everything that happens on your Kindle book is separate, and so you have different rankings of where you are on the bestseller list for both of those. And what you want to do is to go in and physically combine those two. You want to combine your print book and your Kindle book so that then all the reviews that you have on your print book become a part of the reviews. And so all of these steps are part of tuning into the logarithms that are set up by Amazon. There's not some cute little man sitting in a room deciding what book is good.
No, it's the robots.
Exactly, but it is a robot today. I mean, it is exactly how many things move, how much how many books you are downloading, and that's why some things are so important. For instance, you want to be sure that you have a look inside on your book, and that can take sometimes it can take up to a month to have the look inside registered.
It is. It's a pain. That sometimes can be a pain, everybody. That's why you need this pre-time. And look inside is really critical for your book sales.
It is critical. And you may have a look inside on your print book, but you have to re-register it for your Kindle book. So you cannot assume that things cross over. You have to set things up in a separate and special way. But there's so many things that are important for to become a bestseller. You have to do a variety of things. You have to choose your price. You have to build an audience. You have to set yourself up for the Kindle under Kindle Direct Publishing. And underneath the Kindle Direct Publishing, and this is hugely important, you want to become a Kindle Select book. So it's two separate things, Kindle Direct Publishing, and then you register as a Kindle Select. And the reason you do that is that can start moving the logarithms on your book. There are a couple we can call them drawbacks. I call them a huge benefit. With Kindle Select, you have to give Kindle an exclusive for 90 days. So that means that you won't go on Smashwords or any of the other sites.
Sure, iBook, any of the iBook, any of the Kobo, anything, BookBaby, anything. You just use book Barnes and Noble, Nook. You strip it off. And it's better to, if you're going to do the Kindle Select, do it in the beginning. If you decide you want to go kiss the others, you want to do it in the beginning here. So it's just easier.
Exactly, and the others you can add after the 90 days. You might say, well, I don't want to give an exclusive. Well, it is completely worth it because you start getting the benefits from Kindle itself. And a good example, we began our campaign under what I call a soft launch. So we took 30 days for our full campaign as opposed to doing it in a short time, 7 days.
Which I think is smarter because what it does is you evolve from being the sprint to more something that builds momentum and has more traction.
And you yourself have time over that 30 days to do your promotion through your crowd and your network. And but with the Kindle Select, you want to for sure start offering your book at zero. Now, it can kill you to do that. You've spent all these hours, you've spent money on your book, and to think I'm giving this book away, it is so worth it. You must offer your book at zero for at least 2 days, and you must offer your book at 99 cents for at least 2 days. And you might ask, well, why? Why bother to do that? I've spent all this money on the book. But what you start doing is you start setting up the Kindle and Amazon motion. You start that momentum. I have a pretty good size network and mailing list. And before I announced to anyone on my mailing list and in my network that our book was up on Amazon, we had already put it up. We had offered it at zero, and we sold over 100 books from people who I have no idea who they are. They are people that troll the Kindle site, and they look for books that they can get at a free price, which is just hugely exciting.
So here's what everyone needs to understand: that once you do the freebie area, we're not talking perpetuity. We're talking about is a seedling of doing that to gather the trolls' interest, that numbers start to accumulate, the Amazon robots start, because they're hungry, they start looking at, and your numbers are starting to reflect, downloads, better pay attention. Then and then other people, because then they start chattering about it and they talk about it, and then it shows up in other arenas. Then with that momentum, you start adding a real dollar price to it. Is that correct, Anne?
That's absolutely correct. So you offer it $0 for 2 days, and it goes into a category that's called free books under Kindle. And one fun thing with us, when we were offering, we became a number one at the books that were going at $0, and we were ahead of Mark Twain in selling books, which
there you go.
Is hugely exciting. And then after the 2 days, and you can run it for longer than 2 days. You can run it up to the 5 days. You can even run it longer. I don't recommend that. And after the $0 price, and you've announced this to your entire network of people that are on your Twitter and Facebook and your regular mailing list and your newsletter list, then you raise that price to 99 cents, and you run that for at least 2 days, and you tell your network of people, you might have missed this for free, but you can get it now for 2 days for 99 cents, and that's almost free. And you start those downloads. We had, in the first day, after I announced it to my entire crowd of people, we sold 500 books in the first day. And when we raised it to 99 cents and then we started inching that price up, we sold 1,000 books in 5 days' time. And it's because the book is affordable, and it's also going to the people we know. And so, of course, they want to have a copy of the book. And so, of course, they're going to download that. But the key thing is that you can't wing this. You have to set up a plan and decide exactly what day, what is going to happen.
And that's the truth. So that as Anne's talking about these prices, Amazon does pay when you go past the $0. And if your price of your book is under $2.99, they're going to pay 35%. If it's over $9.99, they will pay 35%. But the sweet area for 70% payout is $2.99 to $9.99. Somewhere you'll eventually land in there and probably stick for a while. But that's after you've got what Anne calls and I call bragging rights. So let's talk about that a little bit, Anne.
Yeah, bragging rights are huge, because now I can, for perpetuity, say that I have an Amazon #1 bestseller, and I have a #1 hot new release from Amazon, and you won't stay at #1. I mean, after the 30 days, you will sink down a little bit, but you can always say, I am an Amazon bestseller. And the interesting thing is that because of that, people will buy your Kindle book, but your sales on your print book will also rise. Someone will say, oh, this looks good on Kindle. I think I'd like to have the book in my hand. Mm-hmm. And so you will increase those sales as well.
Mm-hmm. Jeff Bezos told me, I met him at a conference a few years ago. He says, actually, when people buy the ebook, it really does generated the companion print sale. They saw a lot of that going on.
Which is really exciting, and you also need to be ready for that. You need to be sure that you have enough print books at Amazon that so things can be selling during that momentum. The other thing to know is that after you've offered your book for free and you've made your ranking to #1 for free, and then you offer it at a price starting at 99 cents and you start raising it, but when you offer it at a price, you start your ranking all over again. So you might be
which is cool. Yeah.
Well, it is cool, but it's a shock that you're #1, and then you start you have your price on a book, and you're not #1 anymore. And so you have to keep your momentum going and your information going to your network of people to keep those books buying. And that's one of the really key steps in making your book a bestseller, is that you must build your audience, and you need to build your audience before your book is offered. And
all right, so let's hold that, because we're going to take another quick break, but let's talk about audience building techniques. And then I wanted to also kiss on some of the goodies you need in the book launch kit. We'll be right back. Anne Randolph is with me. We're talking about making bestseller stardom on Amazon.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Since 1987, Color House Graphics has set the standard for quality book production. Whether you decide to print a small quantity of books or need a large print run, depend on Color House to help you. You'll receive professional help and advice the moment you reach one of our representatives. If you mention hearing about us on your guide to book publishing with Judith Briles, we will provide you a discount on the first order you place. To speak with a project manager, call us toll-free at 800-454-1916 or visit us at www.colorhousegraphics.com.
Want to publish like a pro today? Well, then take a look at Ingram Spark, the only publishing platform that offers print and ebook services through a single source. Upload, edit, and manage titles all in one place. Take more control of printing costs with print on demand, and reach even more readers through one of the world's most extensive distribution networks. Built by independent publishers for independent publishers, Ingram Spark has everything you need to maximize your book's potential: color printing, ebook distribution, print on demand, global reach, and more. Start publishing with Ingram Spark today and see just how far your titles will go tomorrow. That's ingramspark.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right. So, Anne just kissed on the area of I mentioned the book launch kit, and also the whole area of how imperative it is to have that audience in place. And we're talking cyber audience. You know, certainly locally you can let people know, but we're talking about communicating primarily via social media. Is that not right, Anne?
No, absolutely, absolutely. And this is something, if you haven't started building your social media audience, then you need to start it immediately. And people say how. One of the best ways to help build your audience is to attend everything. Go to all Author U meetings. Go to everything. It doesn't even have to be things that are about books, but you start gathering business cards and you start putting those business cards into a mailing list so that you have a network of people that you can communicate with. And there are a number of sites for mailing lists, and I highly recommend that you pay the money and you have a mailing list site so you have a good way that you can communicate with this audience that you're working on and building.
So let me interject here. When Anne is referring to mailing list sites, we're talking about social media management related tools that tie in with whether you use other forces where you can your Twitter feeds or your Facebook, where you can post multiple at a crack without going to each site. That's one thing. The second thing is, though, a mailing manager, sometime, whether it's a Constant Contact, whether it's a Aweber, whether it's a MailChimp, or something that you can gather names and turn them into superfans, literally, because you're going to have ongoing things. It's just not the campaign you're going to be talking about. You're developing a repertoire with them and a relationship that you can get them, whether it's a Monday blog, whether it's a Friday newsletter, whatever it is, it'll be that channel that you will deliver it through. So it's a must-have.
It is. It's a must-have, and you can start almost with every site, you can start at no cost up as a trial, and it is completely worth doing that, and it's completely worth increasing your list and using a mailing site to help you manage who's interested in your work.
Exactly. Well, so how about the book launch kit? Because you felt that there's, besides identifying, okay, today is the day. So what do you do in developing a team to support you?
That is the second thing that is so important for if you want to rise up to being number one on Amazon. You must put together what I call a pitch team, and you go to 10 of your closest friends that you know have a mailing list and who have good presence in social media, and you ask them if they would help you during this campaign. And so that pitch team will start sending out information about the launch of your book and the progress of your book to their network. So you are not only playing the people that you know, but you're playing the people that other people know as well. So that pitch team helps you bleed out into a much larger community. Probably the most important thing when you're preparing this is you want to set your launch date, and then you start planning from that date backwards. And you're looking at things at least 4 weeks ahead. And in the 4-week period, you are getting together your pitch team. You're being sure that your mailing list is organized. And then you want to write for your pitch team all the promotion that they're going to send. You want them to write at least 3 emails they can send out about your book, at least 5 Facebook posts, at least 5 tweets. I love it with Author U. Once a week, we get suggestions of tweets and things that we can send out about writing or promoting our writing, and it's already written for us. So it's so easy for us to do this.
Right. So no brain damage. I think what you're saying is when you ask people to help you out, don't create brain damage for them. What you want to do is do the work that they just have to do copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste.
Exactly. And they will do that for you if they know exactly what to do. And once again, you can make it easy. You want to also send them pictures of the cover of the book, pictures of yourself. You can also come up with little fun quips about what's in the book or something that you've done or how many times your dog barked while you were trying to put the book together. But cute and fun little lines that makes it easy for folks.
Well, I think that's it personalizes it and it makes it real. So they understand because you, especially when you're dealing with your team, these people could be totally strangers to you and your work. So that, you might have a dog lover out there, many dog lovers, in fact, that might be the thing that connects them. So who knows?
Pets sell books. So any pictures you can get of your cat climbing a tree, it's going to help sell your book.
Oh, so, you know what? So do babies.
That's a good idea.
So do babies. They always sell books. I have to tell you as a sidestep, I was looking at something early this morning. One of those crazy ads that came across, and it was like doctors are totally surprised. And this young couple, within a year of their marriage, she got pregnant, and she had quads without any fertility drugs. She just had quads. And what was so unique is they were identical little girl babies. And that I could just see those little ones as they move into their crawling and all their other stages, that they all will have so unique personalities, but they are identical. And I can see commercial sponsorship up the gazoo once they get past this. The crying, diapering every 2 hour stage.
And if you can get a picture of each one of them holding one of your books.
Oh,
you have
there
it made,
you go.
Right. Yeah, you have that made for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, celebrities sell books, and you might want to, or something local going on. You just never know who is going to be a pitcher for you. So if you don't ask, it won't happen. I think that's really important to understand. And one of the things we didn't kiss on that I think is very, very important is a whole concept. I've talked about it a lot, and it's just as important in this as well as when you blog and posting, and it's this little goodie called keywords. So did you do anything unique in identifying your keywords or add additional adjectives onto them?
Keywords are hugely important and a science of its own. We played around with keywords. Our book is about people achieving and overcoming things, and so we played trying to match our book with Kitchen Soup of the Soul. We tried to match our book with Women Who Run with the Wolves, and we put into our book description some of those words. So once again, with the logarithms, that if someone puts in adversity, women overcoming adversity, that it would, if they're searching for something about that, if we have that as a keyword in our description or even in your bio or even in the title and the back cover of your book, then that helps register. So it's something that I actually need to study a little more of, and it'll be my next step of really how to find metadata that reflects what's going on with our books. But it is another important part of the campaign.
Well, then I might add on to this one too, because there are variables you can do. Coupled, maybe you have a plain Jane keyword that you're trying to spice it up a little bit. Make sure that you study the trending hashtags, because there may be a word or two, or there may be some trending hashtags that are out here right now that absolutely may tie into your book. You want to incorporate and use them, because you never know where you're going to show up when you do that. So that would be one thing that I would look at very closely. And also, if whatever the trends are, because as you know, trends are here this hour and gone the next, sometimes that you want to really maybe take advantage of it if you are in the height of your campaign.
And actually use the hashtag in your promotion when you're sending things out on Twitter and other social media sites.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And so that's why I'm saying you can just Google trending hashtags, and it'll take you right to the list, and you can see what's going on. You want to see what breaking news is, and all that, because if you've got something to say that ties into something that is trending, news jacket and take it and run with it. And that's just say thank you for the gift. That's the way I look at it.
Great. That's a great tip. Another thing that people might want to know is the best day to launch your campaign. And
I think that's critical to understand, because they do vary.
Absolutely. And it was interesting to me to find out with Kindle that Friday and Saturdays are dead days. People don't buy Kindle books on those days, which, you'd think we're ready for the weekend, and we're ready. The very best day to launch a Kindle book is on a Tuesday. And this is just proven by other people. And one thing about doing a campaign is latch on to information about how to do a campaign, and then just obey them. Just do what these people who have done a campaign that's successful, just do what they say. And after you've launched one campaign, then you can start figuring out what works best for you. But if there's a formula, just follow it exactly. So launch a campaign on a Tuesday.
Okay, so let's take our final break. But when we come back, I'd like to have you come back and just expand this a little bit. So where do we look for people who have had successful campaigns? How can we deep dive down into see maybe some of the goodies that they were doing or using or taking advantage of that we might flow into our own campaigns? We'll be right back, and Randolph is with me. We're talking about how to create a #1 international bestseller on Amazon.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems, you want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider, or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today, 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All righty, final segment. If we haven't whetted your appetite, I don't know what we're going to do here, because we've really been going through step by step of what we need, what you need to do to develop a Amazon bestseller. And now Anna said that, she focuses on Kindle this last time. Excuse me. And that I'm telling you, the same thing works on the print side. It's a lot of work. And what she just said before the break about the weekend was not a great time to try to launch a bestseller on an e-world. It is duplicated on the print. That Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is when you want to roll it out on the print side as well. Okay, so Anne, with that added in, let's come back to look at the area of how do we spy on other people who have been really successful.
Well, one thing that I did is I just began Googling Amazon campaign or Kindle campaign to try to find information, and there are quite a few places where you can get the steps that you need to follow. And one of the best resources is actually through AuthorU. There are classes, there are workshops, there are webinars, and you can get that information. You also, with an organization like AuthorU, you can network with other people who have done campaigns, because almost everyone involved with AuthorU has a book or is completing a book, and they have a lot of experience with that. I have information on my own website, which is AnnRandolph.com, AnnRandolph.com. I listened to a webinar that AuthorU did that Joel Friedlander put together on the Amazon Success Toolkit. And that's a really good resource. And in that resource, he will also tell you how to upload your book to Amazon and to a variety of other resources. And I ended up getting someone, one of my colleagues, to do the actual upload and to do the actual price change. And the reason I did that, I learned from Judith Briles, who says, I hope I could quote this right, something like, don't do well what you shouldn't be doing. But what is that quote? It's a great one.
Don't do well what you have no business doing.
Exactly. And my business was to promote the book, and that's where I had skills. And so if I could get someone else to do the technical part of actually uploading the book and making the price changes, then I had the time to do the other part. It's really important about the price changes because there are two things to keep in mind. The price, it can take one and sometimes even 2 days for that change to actually register. And if you're sending out to your people, my book is going to be at $2.99 for the next 2 days, you want to be sure that you've set up the rhythm, that you have had someone or you've done it yourself raise the price, so when that email comes out, it really is at $2.99 or it really is at $8.99, the price that you set. And then another trick I learned, which I have to say I don't even completely understand this, but it should be easy to understand. Amazon works on Pacific time, and so when you make your change, you need to make your change so Pacific time registers for a good time for your time zone. So if you are in Mountain or Central or even Eastern, you want to be sure that you have you've made your change early enough Pacific time so it registers when you want to see it. And the other thing is that it takes, when you've made a price change, it takes 6 to 8 hours for that change to go into work. So you need to sit and make a chart and figure out what is the time. Generally, for Pacific time, generally it's between 12 and 3 p.m. is the time that you want to make the change so it comes up at the right time for you. But like I say, you have to be a math major to completely understand it.
Well, so if we're going to do the noon to 3 window, what you're doing is planning for the next day or late that evening, but you're planning for the next day. If you're going to make any changes so it is immediately implemented. Now, sometimes Amazon is pretty speedy, and I've seen things up really fast. I mean, within an hour. Okay. Other times they take a little bit longer than 6 hours. So, and Amazon, the mothership of Amazon is based on the Pacific Coast up in Seattle area. So that's why everything is on Pacific time zone, how they operate on that. So, and here's the other thing that Anne really emphasized, and you need to hear this again. This is not something you're going to make a decision that, okay, tomorrow or in a couple of days I'm going to do this bestseller thing. You really want to have everything loaded up at least a week in advance, So you can do the fine tuning, you can make the changes, and you can get your scheduler in place and not do it at the last minute, because I'm going to guarantee everything will go wrong if you do.
Right. And how do you run a campaign? You plan it. And I, Ann Randolph, am not really a planner, but to make this work, I had to do that. I had to sit down and put a chart together of the date and who does what and what's going to get done on that date and who does it go to. And it's sort of like setting up a rehearsal schedule. My background's in theater, and so in theater you set up, when you're going to rehearse and who's showing up, and it's exactly the same thing setting up a campaign. And then once you have that chart made of who does what and when, then all you have to do is follow it. You don't have to rethink it. You've already told yourself what to do.
Which is the best, not having to rethink it, because then you can go a little bit into automatic, and just then, because you're going to become the monitor, actually, because you're going to follow what's going on once that starts, and you're going to have to tweak and do some fine tuning probably throughout. Did you have to do any tweaking once you started?
We did do tweaking, and particularly in the times that we would change prices, in the emails that we would send out to people, and some fun things would happen because we started competing in our ranking with people like Truman. I told you we were ahead of Mark Twain.
I know, I love that.
And in the literary area, we were ahead of Neil Gaiman, and we were ahead of Joan Didion, and ahead of Joyce Carol Oates one time. So when you start seeing that becomes a fun thing to put into your promotion. So you can say, grab our book while we're ahead of Joyce Carol Oates. One of my favorite is that for a long time we were ahead of Genghis Khan. So you can't do
there
that.
You go.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And then there's the wordsmith of all times, James Patterson, that you even knocked him down. So I was proud of you.
Isn't that great? And another really fun and exciting thing is that we began selling internationally, and we've made sales in Japan, in India, in the UK, in Australia, in Canada, and it's so fun to go on the Japanese site for Amazon and see how much your book is in yen. or to go on in India and see how much your book is it rupees? Is it, I don't know. Our book sells for 2,415 in India. It's just so cool. And so there's a lot of things you get from these campaigns. Bragging rights is just huge. And another thing that you get is it helps you personally, that you have accomplished this big thing of not only putting the book together, but mounting a campaign, and people bought the book. I mean, it's amazing to me that 5,000 people have bought this little bitty book that we put together sitting at my kitchen table.
There you go. All right, so we have a little bit over a minute left. So let's tell them about you. You've got a special for everyone who's listening in, and it's called Write on Fire, Heat Up Your Writing with Kitchen Table Writing. And I'm going to encourage everyone to take advantage of this. So tell us about it quickly.
Great. This is a book that puts together my theories of kitchen table writing, and it gives us exercises. It tells you how to sit down and do this type of fresh writing. And I've created what I'm calling a limited edition for this particular book, and I'm offering it at a great price, because what you're essentially getting is Ann Randolph teaching you how to sit down and bring fire and energy into your writing. And I'm also going to offer a special on our stories gathered at the kitchen table. And to get these specials, I want you to go onto either my website, which is annrandolph.com, or you can go directly to shop.annrandolph.com, and you can get the special prices that I'm offering through this radio show, and also we'll be offering it through the webinar that's coming up in 2 weeks.
which we want you to all take advantage of. So it's ANNERANDOLPH.com. And go to her website, which might be the easiest because you might want to explore it and see what you can get. But take advantage of the book, which normally sells for $15. You'll get it for $12. And that her whole packaging, her writing kit, which normally the guide sells for $72, you're going to get it for a third off at $52. So take advantage of this, both for $60. So we normally don't do offerings, but I just know Anne and her work. I know that she's one of these people who is not an expert because she read 30 books. She's an expert because she walks the talk and the life, which is more critical to me in all that. So just a quick wrap up there. But Anne, thank you so much for being with us today. And I look forward to doing our webinar on the 16th and taking advantage of that. And that will be available for replay, but we're going to really get into, all the things that you can do to really make this work. And you'll have the slides to watch it, and we'll be with you on, and you can ask live questions, which would be very cool. All right. So we'll be back. It's fall. It's an Indian summer here in what should be snowing now, but we'll take what we can here in Colorado.
It's beautiful here.
It is. All right. So everyone, happy writing. I know it's we're into November, and it's write a novel a month, a draft, 50,000 words. If you're on the quest, good luck to you. Keep on writing. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Each week, a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take you, the author, to the next level. You'll learn tips and secrets on how to create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve book publishing success by making one very simple change in your book's journey. How to avoid the publishing predators. How to create an author and book platform that rocks. Learn how to make a living with your words and your books. Learn how to publish a book that has no regrets, and so much more. For more information, check out AuthorU.org, where authors who want to be seriously successful go. And Judith's website, thebookshepherd.com. Then join us again here next week for more. It's Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Brought to you by Author U and the Book Shepherd. Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific,